Hi, this is Gotti Elkon with Stellic Film News, here with the team behind Echoes of War: Ethan Embry, Owen Teague, Rhys Wakefield, Beth Broderick. Guys, what was it about Kane's and John's story that made y'all want to come aboard? Maybe we'll kind of go down the line. What was it about the character, about them meeting them? I mean, what was it? What was it for you, Ethan?
For me, the first thing, it was pretty standard. The script is what drew me to it. It's just a really beautiful character piece, and I've never played this period before. I've never. It's something that I've never done, and it was a character that I've never done, and it was really the story that was the first, because I think he wrote a pretty damn good script. What about you?
Yeah, the script is all the characters are great, and very real feeling, and the period and the setting was something that was really intriguing, and I've always, westerns are great, and that kind of western southern, very real gritty feeling is wonderful in a film.
Was it fun to? I mean, it's a family type film. I mean, it's two sets of families, really. I mean, was that also intriguing? Families at that time frame, and families dealing with war, but a war that maybe we didn't know that they had to deal with PTSD. I mean,
well, yeah. I mean, we don't really think about that when we talk about the Civil War, but it was one of the most bloody, violent wars in human history. There are lots of stories about people that returned to Texas crazy out of their minds, and there are lots of true stories like that, but you never see it depicted in film. You always see the war itself. We almost never see the aftermath or the repercussions of war, which I thought was really an interesting topic.
What about you, Rhys? What attracted you?
Yeah, I think it was reiterating what everyone else has said. The script was just a really strong script that developed these rich characters between these two feuding households, that it was just such a direct and interesting little story, that was telling ultimately a much larger tale, the effects of how the war really did change the infrastructure of so many parts of America, and people had to adapt, and they had to adapt having just gone through this terrible bloodshed, and that's what I loved about it. We were just all these kind of shells of these characters are just these shells of who they used to be, and I think that's what makes it so interesting.
You could probably trace back a lot of issues in this country, in this society, the American culture, that come from the early parts of the nation. I mean, you had the Revolutionary War, horrible, bloody battle, and then you had, I think, the War of 1812 would have been next, right? Spanish-American.
Yeah.
And then the Civil. It was just like one after the next, after the next. And then it goes into the World Wars, and just the effect that can have on a population.
Totally, I agree, and it's generational. I imagine,
Now, yeah, we're going through them now.
Yeah.
Do you think that's unique? I mean, a lot of war films maybe are dated. This one isn't about a war; it's about the effects of war, and it could definitely be seen, I think, by someone coming back from Afghanistan or Iraq that would look at it and say, I know exactly what he was going through. That must have been exciting to tackle something that's a period piece, but it's very much relevant today.
Well, I just got back from doing a movie in Egypt, and I was there for 2 months, and the Middle East is just so rife with war and vengeance and paranoia and all the things that kind of are depicted in this movie as well. And you sit there and you think, oh my God, how's this region ever going to really recover itself? But this is just perpetual, war sort of just keeps perpetuating more war. And I think it's just a tragic quality of humankind.
And one of the most interesting things was the how Wade comes back, and there's this character of Sam, and he's got this very different view of war than everyone else in the film, and
almost
it's very
romanticized.
yeah, it's very romanticized for him. It's like this, go off and be a hero and all this glory and everything. And it's that side of his idea about what war is that kind of shatters throughout the film.
It almost feels like it's a look into justice or vigilante justice or taking justice into your own hands when you're isolated. You know, these people were isolated. There wasn't maybe someone to say, hey, let's sit back, let's talk to Wade, figure this out. The families go into action because that's really what Wade knows.
Yeah.
What was the shoot like? You guys shot in Austin.
Shot in Austin, Texas in the summer, wearing period layers.
It was hot.
And we
you guys
shot it on.
survive, yeah.
Yeah.
It was really trying. I mean, it was pretty hot. And it was shot on film as well, which
Yeah.
was
You never
incredibly
do.
ambitious and
Yeah.
cool that it worked out. But
Very brave to shoot
Yeah.
on film these days. And it was actually, for as much as I bitched about it at the time, like, why are we shooting on film? it really paid off. I think the film looks beautiful. Wes, our DP, talented dude, and a great guy to work with. For me, whenever I'm working, I always gravitate towards the DP. Maybe it's a byproduct of doing a lot of TV lately, because the director of photography is the guy that's always there. He's, directors come and go, ADs coming, there's a rotating crew, but the director of photography stays the constant. But yeah, working with Wes was, because he's right there, he's right behind the camera. He's almost like he's a character
Yeah.
totally,
amongst us.
totally becomes such a comforting face.
Yeah, I thought he nailed it. I think the film looks absolutely beautiful.
I think another thing that made shooting on film so kind of electric is we had this incredibly limited amount of takes that we really had
Yep.
on offer to us. So there was no luxury of messing one up or going half-assed into anything, because it was really like, you can hear that tape, the spool of film just burning away, and you know that you're burning through money and a take on a little independent film. So I think that creates some sort of energy on the set.
Yes,
which
it did.
yeah.
which was-
It created a little bit of energy.
Lots of energy.
a unique energy, perhaps, on the set.
Harkening back to me bitching about shooting on film.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that urgency that comes with shooting film, plus the heat and the reality of being, in such a situation in Austin, created a very visceral kind of feel, and it made the film really a lot more real for me.
Yeah.
And easy to get into that character.
And it's a bonding experience
Oh, yeah.
for all of us.
Yeah.
It's absolutely nothing like going to war. People use that as a euphemism. Is that the word that I'm looking for?
Mm-hmm.
And it's nothing like it, but you could say that there were moments that we were in the trenches together, making a movie. It's pretty crazy sometimes.
I'm curious, there are a lot of silent moments. There are a lot of just moments of just reflection. What was that like, playing off of that, where you are conveying so much with just a look? And I think James's character really has some of those piercing looks. It's like, as actors, being able to convey emotion without words, did any of y'all feel that you got to have that moment, that perfect little look at the camera, I guess? Were you looking into Wes's eyes and you just loved it?
Well, my character isn't really able to speak, so I think most of my moments were silent or guttural, which is always a challenge, because you're trying to figure out, you have to really have an emotional through line in order to be a silent character. Like, to be like somebody who doesn't
It's really
speak and
haunting.
can't.
It's really, really haunting stuff you did too, by
Thank
the
you.
way.
Was it fun to play with that? I mean,
I wouldn't go to fun. I wouldn't go all the way to fun. No. But it was,
It's an interesting way to spend your day.
Really
I bet.
interesting, yeah. Well, I do a lot, I do a lot of comedy, and I play a lot of, like, kind of glamorous characters. So for me to be kind of with no makeup on and that crazy hair, naked in a cabin in the woods, I was like, well, don't do this every day, So it definitely took a little bit of courage on my part, but it's also, I was just fascinated to try to give this woman her due.
It says a lot that you guys are come to the Dallas for the screening. You guys are obviously busy. You have other work. What made you want to come here and experience Dallas and hopefully the screenings? I mean, this shows a lot for Kane and John and what they've done. That you guys back them to venture out here and talk about the film. I mean, what was it about them that made you guys be this open to come out?
Well, this is the reason I do this stuff. I don't do it for the money, obviously. I do it because these young filmmakers have a dream and they have put together a great script and they've somehow got the gumption up to get the money to make this film. And to me, that's so important. It's the whole point of being an older actor who can do that and participate. So it's so exciting for me whenever these young filmmakers get their movies off the ground, and the fact that it's here, I'm just excited for them, and I'm always there to support.
Yeah, years. We shot this almost 2 years ago now, and I don't know how long he worked on the story, but it's years of his life dedicated to this, and he made something good. I mean, it affected me. I might be biased, and we'll see how it's received tonight. I think this is the first audience that's going to see it, but it's a great place it's a Texas film. It's a story about the history of Texas, and what better place than the heart of Texas? Well, that's really Austin, but
We're kind of north. Maybe Austin's the belly. We're in the heart region. I know you guys just kind of arrived, but is there anything in Dallas that you want to check out? I mean, are you guys going to get to venture out to the city at all?
I was here on a series for a while, and I had a lot of fun. I mean, and the food. Oh, you look at the food. It's fantastico. So, but I don't know how much I'm going to have time to do on this trip, but it is a great town.
Well, thank you guys for coming out, and I can't wait for people to see it. I was moved by it. It's in there. It makes you put yourself in their shoes, and could you do that? So thank you guys for coming out.
thanks for
Thanks
having
for
me.
Thanks for having
Yeah,
us.
cheers.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sweet.